All right, algebra bros, algebra buddies, algebra friends. This one's going to be a fun one. This is Unit 5, Lesson number 5. We're going to solve a system of equations. That means two equations at once. Solve a system of equations using our algebraic skills, and I'm going to show you how to do something called the elimination method. We did substitution together. Now we're going to do elimination, and then we'll have time to practice and review this before you take your test. So we'll have a day of review, and we can go over this if you need to. We'll have a day of review together before you take your test. So get your calculator, something to write with. The whole idea behind the elimination method is to cancel one of the two variables out of the problem. So if it cancels and goes away, that means we can solve for the variable that is left. And in order to cancel the variables out, we will be adding the two equations together, where one of our variables will have a positive coefficient that matches the other one with a negative coefficient. So when we add them together, they cancel. But we're going to have to use skills similar to what you do when you get a common denominator of a fraction, where you multiply to change the numbers how they look, but you don't change the value. And I'll walk you through all of this as we go. So let's read our example number 1. Jack bought 3 slices of cheese pizza and 4 slices of mushroom pizza for a total cost of $12.50. Grace bought 3 slices of cheese pizza and 2 slices of mushroom pizza for a total cost of $8.50. What is the total cost of 1 slice of cheese pizza, and what is 1 slice of mushroom pizza? So we have to use variables to represent the cost of a cheese slice and the cost of a mushroom slice. You're welcome to use X and Y. If the question tells you what letters to use, you have to use those letters. If it does not tell you what letters to use, you can use whatever letters you want. You just have to tell the reader what the letters stand for. So let's keep this easy. I'm going to say let C equal cost of a cheese slice. So 1 slice of cheese pizza will cost letter C amount of money. And then we'll do M for mushroom. So now we need to come up with 2 equations. Okay, one equation will come from Jack. Jack bought 3 slices of cheese, 4 slices of mushrooms for a total cost of $12.50. 3 slices of cheese plus 4 slices of mushroom equals a total of $12.50. Then along came Grace, who bought 3 slices of cheese, 2 slices of mushrooms for a total of $8.50. So 3 cheese and 2 mushroom totaled $8.50. So now let's go through these steps, and I'll walk you through how to do this elimination method. So step 1, line up the equations and variables vertically. So I actually have that written already, but vertically means put one underneath the other. All the letters, the equal sign, the variables, and the numbers have to be lined up accordingly so both equations are in the same order. I put C first, so C goes first. Then M, then the mushrooms, M. Then the equal sign, and then our numbers. Next, find 2 variables that have opposite coefficients. That means one positive, one negative, hopefully the same number. If there are no variables with opposite coefficients, that means everything has positive coefficients or everything has negative coefficients, so they match. And we will use multiplication to create opposite coefficients. So that means I need one of these 3C terms to turn into a negative 3C term. That way when I add the equations together, they cancel each other out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my two equations that I have here, and I can clone them. I am going to take the second equation and multiply it all by a negative 1. So I'm going to distribute a negative 1 to all three pieces. Then I'm going to rewrite my two equations. Once I have my equations rewritten, I'll then be able to do the next step, which is add them together to cancel out one of the variables. So my 3c plus 4m equals $12.50 did not change. But negative 1 times 3c is a negative 3c. Negative 1 times 2m is a negative 2m. And a negative 1 times $8.50 is a negative $8.50. With that taken care of, I am now going to add my two equations together. And what will happen is exactly what I wanted to happen, what was my plan all along. The c's are eliminated because they subtract out to be 0. Then I have 4m minus 2m leaves me with 2m. And 1250 minus 850 is 4. Now I can solve that for m. Just divide by 2. And this is telling me that one slice of mushroom costs $2. So there's one of my two answers. But I have to find the other answer. And to find the other answer, I'm going to go back to one of my two original equations. It doesn't matter which one I pick. Use the one that you think is easier to work with. I'm going to pick the one with the smaller numbers. So if I bring down my $3 for a slice of cheese and $2 for a slice of mushroom, or I'm sorry, 3 slices of cheese and 2 slices of mushroom is $8.50. I now know the cost for the mushroom is $2. So I can substitute in the 2 in for m. Now I'm just going to solve for c. I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. And now divide both sides by 3. So I solved and got m is equal to 2 and c is equal to 1.5. And the question did ask to find the the cost of 1 slice of cheese and 1 slice of mushroom. So I have to make sure that I write a conclusion sentence. This is a word problem, guys, and a word problem has to have word answers. So 1 slice of cheese, that's the C. The 1.5 means it's $1.50. 1 slice of mushroom pizza. M was 2, so that means it's $2. You can just put 2, or if you'd rather, you can put 2.00 for $2. Up to you. But I need words to go with my numbers because it is a word problem, so I have a word answer. So that's the elimination method. Let's do it again. Remember, you can pause the video if you need. If I'm going too fast for your writing, just pause. When you get caught up, just come back. All right, Jacob and Zachary go to the movie theater and purchase refreshments for their friends. Remember when we could go to the movies on a regular basis? It's been so long. Jacob spends a total of $18.25 on 2 bags of popcorn and 3 drinks. Let's highlight that. $18.25, 2 bags of popcorn and 3 drinks. And then Zachary spends $27.50 on 4 bags of popcorn and 2 drinks. That information is going to be where we get our equation from. So we have popcorn and we have drinks. If they tell us what letters to use, I have to follow what they tell me to use. If they don't tell me any specific letters, I can make up my own, but I have to write out what I'm choosing to use for my variables. So this time I'm going to use X for popcorn and Y for drinks. You're welcome to use P and D for popcorn and drinks if you want. I'm just going to use X and Y. So we have two equations. Jacob spent $18.25 on 2 bags of popcorn and 3 drinks. Zachary spent $27.50 on 4 bags of popcorn and 2 drinks. So let's take our equations and solve. Step 1 was to line up the equations vertically. So 18.25 equals 2x plus 3y, and underneath it 27.50 equals 4x plus 2y. Now, we're supposed to be able to cancel out either the x's or cancel out the y's. None of the coefficients match yet, and everything is all positive. So, we used multiplication by -1 on the last question. We are going to use multiplication again on this one, but not by just -1. So, what I need to do is figure out first, which variable do I want to cancel? Because I could do either one. Similar to getting a common denominator, we're going to multiply numbers to make something, either the x values or the y values, we're going to multiply to make something match. Options here. If I want to cancel the x values, I can just multiply the top equation times 2. That'll turn the 2x into a 4x. And if I use a -2, it'll turn my 2x into a -4x. Then when I add the equations, they will cancel. I could choose to cancel the y values out, in which case I would use +2 to multiply the top equation and -3 for the bottom equation. That way the y values would both end up a 6, with one of them positive, one of them negative. Considering those two options, I think the easier option, the one with less work, would be to multiply the top equation times -2. And then I will not need to do anything with the lower equation because it has a 4x there, and I'm going to turn the top equation so that it has a -4x. So I have to multiply everything in the parentheses, though. I'm going to distribute to all 3 parts. So when I do this, I end up with a new equation. 18.25 times -2 is -36.5. -2 times 2x is -4x. And then -2 times 3y is -6y. My other equation does not need to change at all. Stays 27.5 equals 4x plus 2y. And if all goes well according to plan, when I add these two together, the -4x and the positive 4x cancel out just like I wanted. The -36.5 plus 27.5 gives me -9. 4x's, like I said, cancel out. And -6 plus 2 gives me -4y. Solving for x, we're going to divide by -4. When you do -9 divided by -4, you get 2.25 for the y value. And it's okay to have decimals. We're talking about going to a movie theater and paying for drinks and popcorn. So prices are not always rounded to the nearest dollar. We have pennies and decimals. So it's okay. That is the price of our drinks. Now let's take one of our original equations. It doesn't matter which one we choose. And let's find the cost for the popcorn. So I guess I'll just take the one with some of the smaller numbers. I'm going to use the one that I wrote in yellow. So $18.25 was the cost of 2 bags of popcorn and 2 drinks. But I now know, based on what we just solved, that each drink is $2.25. I'm going to put that number in for Y. Whoops, that should be a 3. I'm going to put that number in for Y. I'm going to distribute the 3 here. So I'm going to multiply 3 times 2.25. 18.25 equals 2x. And then 2.25 times 3 is 6.75. Going to subtract the 6.75 across the equal sign. So subtract 6.75 from both sides. Then divide both sides by 2. And that gives me my x value. Now don't forget, once we have solved for x, we haven't actually answered the question yet. The question says, determine and state the price of 1 bag of popcorn and the price of 1 soda to the nearest cent, nearest penny. Nearest penny means 2 decimal places. So what we found out, popcorn costs $5.75 each. That was our x. And each drink is $2.25. Word problem has word answers. X was popcorn, that's $5.75. Y was the drinks, that's $2.25, $2.25. All right, doing well. Hopefully you're holding in there. Remember, you can pause, take a break, go get a cookie, maybe a soda, go to the bathroom, come back. Don't forget to wash your hands. And we are on to example number 3. Example number 3 says, Vanessa buys 7 cans of soup and 5 cans of stew for $19.50. It would cost $10.50 to buy 3 cans of each. What are the prices of a single can of soup and a single can of stew? So we have soup and stew. It's not a good idea to use S for both of those because we would have 2 S's for 2 different things. Can't do that. So how about we use X and Y again? Sound good? Sound good. Okay? Okay. I'll let X be the soup because it was mentioned first. And Y is the me, the stew. Our equations. 7 cans of soup, 5 cans of stew is $19.50. 7 cans of soup plus 5 cans of stew is $19.50. Second equation. $10.50 to buy 3 cans of each. So 3 cans of soup plus 3 cans of stew would equal $10.50. All right. Looking at these 2 equations, we don't have anything that's ready to cancel out yet, so we have to do some multiplication to make it work. So what should we multiply by? And this is where we get some options going. We are going to have to multiply both equations. There's no avoiding that this time. Because there are no matching numbers, 3 is not a factor of 7. The smaller number 3 is not a factor of 5. We're going to have to change all the numbers in order to make them set up to new equations that will cancel with each other. Something cancel out. Options. Our options are canceling out the x's. So I would multiply the top equation by 3 and the bottom equation by -7. That way they both end up 21, with one of them positive, one of them negative. So that's option 1, cancel the x's. Option 2 is to cancel the y values. How do you know which one to do? It's your choice. You make the decision, and then just cancel the one that you think will be easier to work with. I think working with a 5 and a 3 are smaller numbers than 7 and 3, so I'm going to cancel out the y values. To cancel out the y values, I'm going to take the 3 from the y in the second equation and multiply that times the top equation. So I'll distribute a 3 to each one of those. Then the 5 that's next to the y in the top equation will be used in the bottom second equation. So I'm going to make that a negative 5. That way when I distribute, I end up with a positive 15y on the top, a negative 15y on the bottom. Opposite signs means they will cancel. All right, so let's do some distributing and rewrite our equations. So 3 times 7x is 21x. 3 times 5y is 15y. And then you might need to jump to your calculator on this one. 3 times $19.50, 19.5 is 58.5. Now let's distribute the negative 5. Negative 5 times 3 is negative 15x. Negative 5 times 3y is negative 15y. And then negative 5 times $10.50 is negative 52.5. The work I did allows me to set up my equations and just add them together so that the y values cancel out. 21 minus 15 for the x's is 6x. And then 58.5 minus 52.5 is 6. Dividing both sides by 6 to get x alone, x is 1. So that means each can of soup is $1. Now that I know x is 1, pick an equation to use to solve for y. I think I'm going to use the one that says 3 of each is $10.50. So 3 times 3x, 3 times x turns into 3 times 1 because we already solved and found that x is equal to 1. So that's what I'm going to substitute. And then I'm just going to do the work that I need to solve for y. Subtract 3 from both sides, and 1050 minus 3 is 750, 7.5. Now divide both sides by 3. Need 2.5 for the y value. And of course, we are going to remember that our word problem needs word answers. So 1 can of soup equals $1. 1 can of stew is 2.5, which is $2.50. That's our final answer. And those are all of our examples, guys. The rest of the unit is practice, practice, practice. All right, so take care. Good job today. Kept it under 24 minutes, which is just more than half of a class. So now use your other half to practice, review. Talk to you soon. Stay safe, please. Bye.